Yenda Barmin. My name is Mudinda Mbevana and welcome to the Chosen Generation. Have you ever wondered where those young people who used to sing in church are? Or maybe those you used to go to camp with, or those you attended Pathfinder with? Today we're talking about the phenomenon of young people leaving church, which we have entitled The Church Dropout. Well, to help us unpack this love, hate, and sometimes tumultuous relationship between young people and the church, we have invited a few guests who are going to share their views with us. You can also tell us what you think about this subject. The hashtag is TCG on SID. Let us know what your story is. Joining us today, we have Thabo Shokholo, who is going to give us his perspective on this subject, the church dropout. We also have in our midst Miss Melinda Ndlovu, and she will give us her experience about this issue. And last but not least, we are joined by Gundo Rabengani, who will give us her perspective. It's time for us to go straight into the conversation.
I think the reason why young people are leaving the church or leaving the church is because of the church. I don't want to say they don't accommodate for us, but I think we get to a certain point where we want to experience things for ourselves. I think we get to a point where we want to live more because we feel as if the church is depriving us from certain things that the other youth is doing. Yeah, that's my point, I guess.
Okay, I feel like with church, it becomes monotonous sometimes because you grew up from Pathfinder and things were done in a certain way. Now you are 25 and things are still done in a certain way. So now it feels like a routine, like you go there and every other second or fourth Sabbath, there's stewardship day, you know. It's the same message, it's the same verse that was read the last time, you know. So now it's like, what am I benefiting from this? You know, I feel like at some point, or maybe because the church is monotonous, it does not meet the needs of what the young people are currently going through, you know. Sometimes you're stressed about schoolwork, but you get to church and all they are focused on is maybe tithes and offering. It has nothing to do with your schoolwork. There's nothing to do with the issues that you're currently going through.
As a young person, I've had times where I've not been motivated to go to church, you know, and I've at some past point felt like I do not really belong, you know, because I believe one of the reasons that is that the church may come short in becoming relevant to the circumstances and situations that we find ourselves in as young people.
Involve the youth more. Give us Jesus. Don't give us your own beliefs. Because I believe in the church, they give us what they think is right. Jesus says, suffer. I forgot the verse, but it says, for such is the kingdom of heaven. The kids are the kingdom of heaven. The youth is the kingdom of heaven. The church doesn't accommodate us, the youth, more, and the kids. You know, so it becomes hard for us to want to be in a place where we are not received.
Oh, let's go straight into the conversation. Perhaps I'll start with you, Brother Thabo. You know, there's the essence of church for you now, but there's also the essence of church for you back then. And what I'm interested in is how church was presented for you initially. What was this concept of church that was given to you?
When I grew up in Limpopo, our primary school principal was the elder at the church.
Okay.
And that was one of the main churches in the community. So, you know, you felt obligated or you have to be at the church, you know. So, yeah, I was attending that church. I was even given a task of doing, you know, the bell early on a Sunday when people have to come. I did that part, but there was I got corrected during a live church session with a bit of like they gave me a warm one when I was speaking and people, I think they were busy and I was busy making noise. After that incident, you know, I stopped going to church.
Oh, wow.
Then I came to Alex when I was a teenager. I went to my mom's church, Methodist.
Okay.
It's more like Roman Catholic church setup where you do a couple of it's more like rituals every Sunday.
Okay. Okay.
So I went there and I got bored. Lucky for me, my parents, my granny at home, they were understanding. I never felt a pressure like you have to go to church. You were encouraged. If you want, let's go. So I went to the Methodist. After a while, I was like, okay, this is not for me. This is boring. I left. And my mother was understanding. Then when I was a teenager, I was 16 or so, I met a watchtower lady on my way to Sandton. I think that was the first time when I was introduced to the concept of Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Because I never, you'd see movies and stuff, but I never thought of, oh, there's Jesus. So there I was asked, do you know that Jesus loves you? And I was like, I don't know. Then 2 hours later, from that question, like from that moment in their car when they were explaining, I converted to being a watchtower. Then continued, I think 2 years, went with my brother. Well, I left it. I was in Alex. I thought, okay, continued being a DJ, basically in the community. Then, I met Jesus again when I was in the industry. This Jesus belonged to the Adventist church, and that's why I'm here.
Oh, wow, that's such an interesting story. Maybe I should bring you in, Melinda. We've just heard his story. I would love to hear your story also. Maybe let's start here. Is there a time where you did not agree with the church's procedures and protocols on certain issues?
I think in my younger days,
Okay.
I did not have a problem with the church's procedures. I didn't question them. It was just, they said turn left, I turned left, and it was as is, But now, I look at things, there are times when I look at things and I have questions and I ask why we cannot adapt our protocols to a certain extent. Not completely, but so that they are more accommodating to the youth of this day. I don't believe in them 100%, probably 70%. Yes.
So what aspect are you referring to? So what was the point in your life where you felt that perhaps the way that they may be treating males and females could be incorrect? What made you have those thoughts?
I don't know. I think it's my own personal church experience
Okay.
at my own personal church. When there are certain procedures where others are valued above others, and it brings questions to one's mind. Like it's status, it's gender, it's where you are outside the church that influences how you're treated in the church. And that brings questions to one's mind, like, is it always like this? Should it be like this? Can it not change? Can we not find a way to accommodate everyone?
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
If I can counter, I would say that the policies are not wrong. It's the people who apply those policies.
The way they apply it.
I think any institution, we look at the government, it's meant to work for our people, but we find that the people that are put in those positions to fix those problems are corrupt. And just like in the church, where it should be the opposite. It should not be like that. It should be a place where the people that are appointed are picked by God, are chosen by Him. That way, they will not take an institution or take all these doctrines and misuse them. Because yes, it's okay to say what you have done is wrong, but then how do you address that? Are you shunning a person? Are you welcome, saying, look, what you've done is wrong, but we still love you. We still want you here because that's the love of Christ. But we're taking what the world has insinuated as cancel culture or whatever the case may be, and we take that and we apply it in the church. And that is not how God works.
Wow, it really sounds like we have a problem. And maybe to the viewers at home, you can share your ideas on this topic. The hashtag is TCG on SID. Let us know what you think. Perhaps you can even share your stories with us. We are going to a break, but stay tuned. We will be right back. Welcome back to The Chosen Generation. We are still trying to unpack this phenomenon of young people leaving church. You can have your share of this conversation by using the hashtag TCG on SID. Let us know what you think about this subject. Now, going back to the topic, maybe I should start with you, Melinda, bring you in here, Melinda. What do you think, or what role do you think the church plays in our lives as young people? And perhaps a second question to that, what should young people expect the church to play? What role should young people expect the church to play?
I think the biggest role the church plays is fellowship.
Okay.
We want a place to meet and have a mutual belief, and it feels good.
Okay.
To all meet and all believe in one thing, and the singing, the lessons that we learn, and the values that we learn in the church. That is the biggest role the church has had for me, and that's the role the church plays. Yeah, that's what I believe.
That's very interesting. I want to bring you in here, Gundo. She's expressing to us what she expects from church, and what the church should be like, the kind of environment that the church should play. Do you think or maybe I should ask this way, what mandate then do you think that the church has in this current generation, particularly looking at in the context of the young people? What's your view on that?
I think the church's mandate remains the same, irregardless of age group.
Okay.
I think it is that we are meant to bring people to Christ and to remind them of the second coming and to essentially show them God's love. Nevertheless, I think the way in which it is practiced is, there's this thing, I'm a performance person, and they say that there's nothing new under the sun, right? But with that, the gospel has always been there. It's not new, right? But it must be new to you every single day. And I think what is happening is that we have people who are in positions who are adults who find it hard to answer questions that a lot of the youth have because for them they were following Christianity as just the mandate or just what I need to do.
Okay.
But if you would look at it in a deeper sense, you would realize that God, Jesus, when he was here, he was not chilling with the righteous or the people who seem to be having it together. He was chilling with the people that you are sanctioning or that you are putting to the side or that you're saying should no longer be a part of your community. And I don't necessarily think that's what the church is trying to say. I think the way they practice it is incorrect. Once again, taking it back to the first segment when I said that it's how people use their power. Just because you were sanctioned or you were disfellowship does not mean you're not allowed to go to the church anymore. Nevertheless, the environment makes you believe you're not supposed to be there.
I get you.
Do you understand? So it is not what the fundamentals of the church are. It's just how people practice those things. And man, cancel culture is for the streets. It's for outside. It is not for the church. And you cannot bring that in and say that you can and show God's love. How when that's not how God works.
Cancel culture is a foreign thing. I think Melinda, as I come to you, Brother Tao, Melinda has spoken about what young people expect from the church, and Gundo is now giving us exactly what the mandate is. And there's something that she mentioned, that there's not something particularly wrong with the mandate and what people believe, but how they do it. And I want to bring you in here, particularly looking at music, because you mentioned your life as a DJ. Possibly many of the church dropouts would be coming to listen to the music that you're DJing. Is there something where you feel that we have missed something about the use of music and perhaps our understanding of music within the church context?
Okay, my observation has been that there's like two camps, I'm generalizing, where people will say, okay, this music is out of line, then I'll try to, okay, let me hear what is out of line with this music. Then you'll find that those who have been maybe in the church for long, or the older ones, will refer to like music which is nice, which is fine. Your Gaither, your, what's the other one?
Heritage singers.
Yeah,
Heritage.
heritage and stuff like that. Ne? But if you listen to that music, if you remove the lyrics,
The lyrics, yeah,
ne,
yeah, it's the same thing.
It's country music.
Yeah,
ne?
yeah.
So country music is a genre. It's country.
Exactly.
Then you'll have. I've heard people saying when Reality 7 or other guys were coming from Durban, when they brought in a bit of mpakanga in their singing, even though nearly vocals, the older generation were like, you know what, this is from
the world.
Yeah, this is from the world.
Were.
But I'm like, okay, how is it different from the tradition? Yeah, go the South, go Texas, where they play, you know, country music and stuff like that. So I think there could be an ongoing discussion, you know, with regards to music, where the older ones can give in their input, but in a way that you don't just cancel people, because when you box someone, you're gonna send them out.
Okay,
so
I see.
you want to keep them in, but also trying to guide them. We know that youth likes to push the boundaries. When they see something outside, they'll want to bring it in. So I think that's where those who are wise can come in and say, okay, maybe we can try it this way, not just to cut and say this is from, you know, the devil.
Sorry, if I can add.
Yeah.
I think the misconception
Okay.
is that white music is holier, but when you go to heaven, you will have an extreme culture shock, because all forms of worship that were given to God will be present there in heaven. And I'm talking about people who are beating drums, people who are, so it's okay. I think it's okay that some people have a stylistic choice. You know, some people want to keep their worship a certain way. But I think it is not okay to shun another person for the way of their style of worship, because to God it is worship. And a lot of times you'll find people who make like love songs that sound gospel, you know, and you're thrown by it, but it's a love song to God, you know, and you have nothing to do with it. Like ungena piwena, like this is a relationship between God and the individual, and whether or not it is classical, it is a bit upbeat. If it is in praise and worship to the Lord, God knows your intention. As for us as the human beings, we may not read people's intention, and that is why sometimes we come across as what you're doing is wrong. But how do you know? God knows the hearts, not you.
Well, perhaps on that thought, maybe after the break, perhaps it's one of the reasons why young people leave the church. And maybe after the break, you can explore some of these reasons a little more. And to our viewers at home, maybe share your ideas with us. The hashtag TCGONSID. Let us know what you think about the subject. We're going to a break, but don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Chosen Generation. We are still talking about young people leaving the church. Please have your say. The hashtag is TCGONSID. Let us know what you think. Back to the conversation. Before the break, I cut you off when you were about to talk about some of the reasons why you think young people may be leaving the church the way that they are. Gundo?
I was raised in the church. I've always been a part of the church, and I think like something he was speaking to was the music. I mean, I have a very prominent father, and to a lot of people, I think they would assume he's very Adventist, but we grew up listening to all kinds of gospel music, and that means Barorisi, like the works, joyous celebration, you know, all kinds of gospel music, because as I said, every form of worship to God, just because it's not your style of worship, does not mean it is not the correct one. So I think the challenge is that I don't want to say, look, there are people who leave the church because bona they don't want the church. Okay? Like, kitaba ya bona mo. But speaking to people who want to genuinely be part of the church, I think the church found a really big struggle, especially in 2020, and they didn't realize it. When churches started to move online and people could have easy access to sermons from anyone, and I mean anyone. You can get music from, I don't know, across the globe and be listening to it now. And why then do you have to go to a church physically when you can be nourished from home? And I'm not saying that we do not need this this fellowship that we get when we are at church, because indeed we do. But if it is not nourishing your spiritual growth, people find that I rather stay and build my relationship with God from home, because when I go to church, I am confronted by all these different projections, all these different views of what I should be like and how I should worship my Lord, instead when I can do it in the comfort of my home. And so how are you going to say to somebody that come back when I can do it from home?
All right, maybe Tabo, let me bring you in here. Perhaps maybe it's because, you know, church is, you know, affecting the bottom line. I want to live a certain life. Now they want tithe and offering. Every day there's donation for Pathfinder, for trips, and this thing is just too expensive. Could that be a reason why young people are deciding to push away a bit?
It's a complex thing, especially tithe. But I think when I came to the church, I can just talk a bit about myself. I was not open to tithe. I was like, okay, this is too much. We pay tax, then we must pay tithe.
They'll pay tithe.
So it was too much. But the more you learn, you know, the more you learn, your mind, you can see that, you're actually returning. So when someone says, no, you're not paying, you're returning, I was like, okay. So by just that, returning, it means it's not mine. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You understand? So just a couple of teachings or whatever, people can be shown a different perspective of why they need to support the church. And I think the church also, if the church becomes relevant, you know, people want to have a purpose. People want to be part of something that changes other people's lives. So if the church strives to position itself as an agent of, you know, change, and the change that we are looking for obviously is to send Christ into the communities that we are part of. People always want to be part of that.
That's very interesting. Maybe Melinda, I should bring you in. You know, the things that you and Gundo have been sharing. Perhaps this could be one of the reasons why you find there's a big exodus of people leaving the, you know, the more traditional churches in the locations, and now they're worshiping in the suburbs in Sandton and so forth. Why is there such an exodus? Could there be a lack of relevance? What do you think?
Just like Tabo said, I agree with him. The church sometimes is not relevant.
Okay.
We know what we should do. Our mission is to go ye therefore. However, things like tithe and offering come in, and there are people who, unlike me, I was born in the church. I've been here for forever. So our parents have taught us, okay, tithe is you're returning to. However, there are others who come into the church. No one's taught them. No one's given them that time to say, look, the reason that we believe in this is because of this, and this is where it goes to. They don't. They come from Kokaikai, they come into this church and they're like, what? Sorry? You want what? From who? Where? Why? You know, and no one answers those questions. Then on top of that, there's a whole lot of things. There's dress code. Obviously, back home, they dress in a certain way. They come into these suburb churches and they see us and they're like, whoa, wait, what is this? What are you doing? You know, and there's a clash. And
what is this?
then our parents come in and I think the tone they use with us,
Okay.
instead of correcting us, it makes us feel like they're judging us. Like, hi, it's just like, okay, sit me down. You know, find a way that I can reason with you and help me understand, okay, no, the reason that we believe in covering our shoulders or wearing a head tie or all of those things is because 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. However, they come in and it feels like they're judging us.
I guess what we are saying, the church, the leadership, well, the church needs education.
Yes.
You understand? Of how to handle.
How to speak
And
to
stop
young
taking
people.
what the
Customer
world
service,
is
I guess.
saying.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Customer
Yeah,
service.
look, this conversation is not finished. we are just getting started, but we have unfortunately run out of time. And the points you are raising, perhaps maybe someone will be able to think about this in a different way. Thank you so much for availing yourself for this
you for
conversation.
having us.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. To our viewers at home, you can, perhaps I should say thank you for allowing us to in your space, and we hope that next time you indeed also come and join us in the next program. And perhaps maybe a final word. I don't think we should neglect the importance of fellowship. In fact, the word does say, do not neglect the fellowship of the brethren. And we have a responsibility to make sure that the church is a welcome and safe place for everybody, so that we are not responsible for those who leave. And perhaps I should also make a plea to those who have left. Please come back for the sake of Jesus Christ, the one who saves, who sanctifies and satisfies. As you have seen, this conversation is not over. So please continue to chat with us. The hashtag is TCG on SID. Let us know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, the SID Media on YouTube. And that's a wrap from us and the team. Thank you, love you, and see you next week.